Hello, my friends. We are back to Permission to Play, the place where sparking joy for kids through playful learning is at the forefront of our movement. And I am really thrilled today to have a special guest on who is in a part of a business collaborative with me. Some fabulous women and have joined together, and I'm learning so much from them. And I love that we all serve kids through play and through teaching. Makes my heart so full to bring these resources to you, because I think the more that you have in your Mary Poppins tote, the more that you're going to be able to support your child. So coming on live with me today is Claire. Hi,
Hi,
Claire.
Amy. How are you?
I'm doing great. Even better now, seeing your bright, smiley, shining smile. I was just sharing that we're part of a business group together, and what I love about our group is just that these women are all working to bring movement of play into the world so that kids can learn with joy and ease, and that we can start early. I love that. Just your business is early intellect. Sorry, I
Yes.
think I just said that wrong. Um, and tell us a little bit about, first of all, your business, and then who is this talk for? Like, who's going to get the most value out of our conversation today so that they make sure to stay
Okay.
tuned?
Well, hi everyone. My name is Claire. I am the founder of Early Intellect, your partner in nurturing early literacy at home. And at Early Intellect, I focus on supporting families, busy families, with integrating literacy into their everyday lives. So if you have a child who is a beginning reader or writer, then this conversation is for you. We're going to talk through some different things around fitting literacy into your schedule and how to make it fun and engaging for your child.
Hey, I love that. I was just scrolling through your Instagram at Early Intellect, and I love how you had like a bingo. So you have a format for parents to follow along. Like, here are some ways that you can play. They're easy, they're quick, and you're just throwing out so many great ideas for them.
Thank you.
How's that going? What's
Yeah.
your feedback on that?
Hi, Serene. Just want to say hi to the chat. Hi, Serene.
Yeah.
Welcome in. So, yes, the bingo card, I started doing it last year. I know for a lot of families, they want to be able to integrate literacy. They know that their child needs to learn how to read, they know their child needs to learn how to write, but sometimes everyone doesn't always know how to go about it. And so that's where the bingo card comes in. So, with the bingo cards, it's a monthly themed bingo card. So for whatever month it is, I try to match it around the theme. So for our January bingo card that's coming up, you'll see winter related activities. The early literacy activities that you'll see in there are using winter related words. Anything that falls on a holiday, there's that related holiday within there. And it's 16 different activities to help integrate early literacy into your life. The activities are typically pretty quick, usually 5 to 10 minutes at most, so that it's bite sized and it doesn't feel too overwhelming for families to be able to engage in. And a lot of times the activities can be done either not using any materials or materials that families already have around the house.
Oh, you are speaking my language, just the same love language right there. Just that it's easy, it's simple to prep, it's simple materials. You don't have to go and break the bank teaching your child and playing games. You don't have to buy all the lakeshore, latest and greatest. But you can do it so simply, and sometimes you just need to know how and what is it that we need to do.
Yeah.
And so we're here to help showcase that. I
Yes.
love it.
It could just feel overwhelming for parents, especially like if you go into a store like Lakeshore, there's so many different things, there's so many activities. And it's like, what do I choose? What do I start with? And sometimes what you choose may not be what your child actually needs in the moment. Um, not all the time the activities are labeled properly, or sometimes they may be harder to follow. And so I try to make sure that whatever activities I provide for families, I'm breaking it down to a simplest form so that it's easy to follow. You know exactly how to do it, you know exactly how to make it work with your child, so that there's no sitting there panicking thinking about that.
I love that. And also, I was talking to a mom who was saying, we don't have room in our house. I don't want a bunch of clutter. I don't want a bunch of pieces of a game and things that are going to get lost and whatnot. So, having something simple really helps with
It
that as
does.
well. Yeah. And when you have a box set, you're kind of limited. But when you can see that you could use something like I always talk about index cards
Mm-hmm.
for 20 different games, it's like you're not limited. So, that's really, really
Yes.
fun. Let's start talking about some of the myths around starting to teach your child early on. Let's bust through some of those. What have you found that people might be latching onto a narrative that's not really accurate or helpful
Mm-hmm.
as far as teaching children at a young age and helping their beginning or struggling reader and writer?
I've heard it all. I've heard that children should not be doing anything but playing until kindergarten, until they actually are sitting in school. There's a lot of people that also have the idea that if they are teaching their child to read, they must be sitting at the table. There has to be a worksheet involved. They have to be sitting there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, focusing on that one thing. And those things are just not true. The best time to start teaching your child to read is like 3, 4 years old. When they get into kindergarten, they will be with children, especially if they're not attending preschool or pre-K. They'll be with children who have already been doing this for 2 years, and it'll be a lot harder for them to catch up. Essentially, they'll have to catch up once they get there, and so we don't want that. At 3 years old, at 4 years old, if your child is able to speak back to you, they're able to speak in full sentences, you can start teaching them the alphabet. Nothing terrible is going to happen. You're not going to be stripping away their childhood, because that's something else that I hear a lot. Like, if there's a lot of different accounts on social media telling families, telling parents that, if they start to teach their child to read at 3 years old, at 4 years old, before they're stepping into school, then they're taking away their childhood. They're taking away the joy. And it's like, no, if your child, like, teaching your child that A says ah is not going to strip away their joy. Spending 10 minutes on a small interactive activity with them, it's not going to take away from their childhood. And so I would say that's the first myth that we need to bust, is that learning doesn't have to be this big daunting thing that is going to be that's a punishment for your child. It can be exciting, it can be fun. And a lot of times you'll see when children start to learn how to read, like, they get excited to do the activities. They get excited to tell you what letter it is. They get excited to find the letters. And so it is absolutely not going to ruin their childhood if you start to teach them to read early on. Absolutely not. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, I hear two different myths in there. Like one is that it has to be like drill and kill and you need to sit still and do this worksheet. Like that's one myth of, how we teach to read. And a lot of times that's because maybe the parent has learned to read that way or the grandparent, the community there. And then the other one is that if you teach them to read, it's like it's a drag and it's overwhelming. You're stripping away their childhood. And quite the contrary. I mean,
Mhm.
one, if your child's ready, like, let's go with that. And learning to read doesn't look like just doing a worksheet and sitting down to a book. In fact, I'm a reading coach and I tell people, don't give them a book. Like, I don't give kids books. I give them
Yeah.
games. I take the content from the books and I put it into games, and then we build up to the book. But it does not need to look like this. Sit down, you need to read, stay there for 15 minutes. I don't want to like get
Mhm.
through this. Doesn't need to be like that. And yeah, the other thing I wanted to just say is something that I had in our conversation with Aaron. Reading is a joy. It is an absolute joy to get into a book and find these silly silliness or adventure, or learn things about the world around you that are, nonfiction. And it's just like, it's such a joy to have this. And then you're so empowered. Your child is empowered to look around and see signs and read menus and read recipes and
Mm-hmm.
do things that are in our everyday life. They get so
They
excited and so
do.
proud and encouraged that they are, oh, look at me, I'm a big kid now. Look what I can do. Yeah.
They do. It's so exciting to see, like, when you have a child who is struggling and now they're able to start reading, the excitement that they feel, and they want to show you. They'll try to read every single thing. Like, it's an exciting thing for them. So it's just sad to see that so many people turn it into such a negative. But like you said, it has a lot to do with how some of us learn how to read, or just how maybe our parents or the people who were teaching us about it, where it's like everything was super strict. You had to sit down. You couldn't move until you finished. If you
Mhm.
got the word wrong, there were some consequences. And so it's just about getting away from that and showing everyone that there is a different way to do things. Learning to read specifically can be exciting. It can be fun. Throw a game in there and your child will be excited. They'll want to do it. They'll ask you to play that game. And so there's a different way to do it.
Yeah. Now, what do you say to parents who are just feeling really swamped, like taking care of kids and the household and the feedings, the just perpetual feedings and the dishes and the laundry? How do they even comprehend fitting one more thing into their schedule? Like, what are your tips for integrating this into their home lives?
So I will definitely say start small and start where you can. It doesn't have to be every single day, 30 minutes per day that we're sitting here, we're doing these activities. It can be 3 times a week for 10 minutes. There's activities that can be done, short activities that can be done on the ride to school or on the ride back from school or during bath time. I follow some different accounts where they are they're doing activities at dinner time, they're doing activities in the bath, and so there's different opportunities to fit in learning. It's just about knowing what you're going to fit in. So that's why it's important to know exactly what your child needs to learn, because once you know what they need to learn, you can find the ways to fit it in. And it goes back to the bingo card. That's part of why I created it, where some of the activities can be done while you're on the go, while you're walking your child to school, while you're on the way back home. It doesn't have to be this big daunting thing that's taking a lot of time. I think for a lot of families, they think it has to be this 30 minutes, and it doesn't. If you have 5 minutes for an activity, you can make that work. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week, find time to make that work. And while everything else, of course, will always be happening, you have to be intentional about creating that time because, again, your child learning to read, it's important.
Mhm.
Yes, them eating and the laundry, all those things are also important, but your child learning to read is also important. So when something is that important, you have to be intentional about finding the time to do it.
Yeah, I just saw a family of mine out on a walk yesterday, and I said, "Hey, do you guys ever take a letter walk?" And the mom said, "No, what's that?" And I said, "Well," the daughter's name started with an L, and the son's name started with a J. I'm like, "Okay, I want you to go on your walk and try to find something that starts with L, and I want you to try to find something that starts with J." So it can just be incorporated into your walking around, into your drive. Reading starts with our ears. So if you are not yet familiar with that as a parent, what that means is we want to practice doing word games that are just listening and responding. So what's something that starts with L, or what are the rhyming words, or can you hear the ending sound in this? And so you can do a lot of things just in language, and no materials required. And I love that idea of like, make it a routine when you're driving to the grocery store. Like, make a little game. Like, I'm going to the grocery store and I'm going to buy apples. And then the next person has to say something with
Yeah.
B. I'm going to buy bananas. And the next person says something with C. I'm going to buy coconuts. So it can be on the go. And people such as yourself have other resources that are available because we we don't want to be the gatekeepers. We want to flood the
Yes.
world with this information so it is accessible to every child. Like that is my heart's desire. I'm sure it's yours as
It
well.
is, because every child deserves to learn how to read. We don't want our children getting into second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and they're struggling with reading when so much of that could have been avoided if we're finding time to fit in literacy through our daily lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um, let's see. Oh, I do you want to tell I was on your Instagram again and saw like you had a road as it sort of reminded me of a board game, but it was a little road. What are some fun activities? And if you want to speak to that one and then like some other games that you teach reading through, what do you
Yes.
recommend?
I I wish I had it with me so I could hold it up
Yes,
and show. But if you
I'll link
go,
it.
yeah, if you go on my page, you'll be able to, like, if you scroll through the videos, you'll see that in a few different videos, I have this huge whiteboard and there's a road, and we use a toy car for different literacy activities. So it's one of my favorite tools to use. And it can be used for so many different activities. So one way I use it is placing down magnet letters and having the child that I'm working with drive through and say the letter name and the letter sound. If we're working on a specific letter, we might just say uppercase and lowercase so that they're learning to identify the uppercase and lowercase letters. I've used it for children who are reading words. So they're driving, they're making each sound, reading the word, and then keep and driving off and saying the entire word. So blending those sounds together to read the word. I've also used it for sentence reading. So they're driving on the road, saying each word, and then reading the full sentence. So there's a ton of ways to use it. I would highly recommend making one. I have a tutorial somewhere on my page as well on exactly the materials that I used to make it and how I went about making it. It's extremely simple, takes about 5 minutes to make, and can be used over and over and over and over again. But it's just such a fun way to incorporate different literacy activities. So, and children love driving the little cars, and it's just a fun way to practice whatever skill it is that is being worked on.
Exactly. When we have little toys and things like that, it just automatically they gravitate towards these things. They see a road and a car and they're like, ooh, I want to do this. And you have that buy-in right off the bat. You really lower any resistance. Um, and then, yeah, we're right there supporting them and playing. And I don't know about if this is part of your message as well, but so much connection happens when we play with our children
Yeah.
that it's not this battle of go read your book, I don't care, like and battle over homework. It's actually coming alongside of them and playing and doing things in this
Mhm.
systematic way. And then you have this joy because play is
It
fun, right?
is.
I just love that is a great idea. I do it as a board game, but I saw that little road and I was like, oh, that's a really fun idea. And like you said, we can do it to whatever level your
Yeah.
child is at.
That's why I love like I love just like a blank canvas almost, because you can adjust it to any activity and any skill that your child is working on. So if your child is working on rhyming words, you put down some pictures and they're driving past and telling you a word that rhymes. If they're working on identifying beginning sounds, you put down some pictures and they're driving past and tell you the beginning sound or the ending sound or the middle sound. So there are so many ways to utilize it that you're not stuck with just one thing. And I think that's part of what's different when you, even though, there are certain things when you make it, it could be kind of time consuming. I say 5 to 10 minutes is not bad, but for somebody who's extremely busy, it might be hard to find the 10 minutes to create that board. But once you have something like that, you can use it over and over and over and over again. The board that you see in the video, I made it, I want to say like 4 years ago. I made that board and I'm still using it. I was using it in the classroom. Now I use it with my students that I work with for tutoring, and it took me 10 minutes to make. So it's worth it to take the time to make the things.
Yeah, I laugh at you when you said that because I have these cutouts of feet.
Mm-hmm.
They're they're on pink paper and they're laminated and they are 25 years
Oh
old
my
and I
God.
still take kids on treasure hunts with them. That's the greatest thing. You can make these simple things and they last
Mm-hmm.
forever. Um, yeah, so I take these feet and I lay them out outside the house on a little journey and put a treasure at the end. Some kids, I mean, I had this one boy who absolutely loved treasure hunts. He would make it like we were going over lava and around lasers and got to watch out for the quicksand. And it's like their imagination comes out too. And this has been something that's been rising to the surface for me is that when you do a little play, a little work, a little
Mm-hmm.
play, a little work, it just makes it manageable so that kids aren't overwhelmed, they aren't flooded, and they are like enjoying the whole process of it because it feels good to be successful
Yes.
and it feels super good to play and have fun and be creative and be imaginative and whatnot. So yeah.
I love it.
Anything else that is on your, like, what's at the top of your list right now as far as what is your messaging? How are you entering into the new year? What do you want to bring parents for as they start a new year? It's kind of a neat, fresh start, right?
Yes.
And what's your message to
So
families?
as we go off and start this new year, I just want all families to know that you can do it. You can teach your child to read. You can support your child who is struggling with reading. If you see any gaps, you can do it. For a lot of people, it can feel intimidating, especially if you don't know exactly where to start or how to go about supporting your child. But even though it may be challenging, it's not impossible. You're capable, you're able to do it. It's just about finding the right resources. It's about learning exactly how you need to go about it with your child. And this is why we're here. This is why we have our businesses, our social media pages to show you that it is possible, to show you the activities that you can do, to show you how to incorporate learning time within your busy schedule, to show you how to support your child. Because we know that not every family is able to afford a tutor, and not every school or every teacher, they're not created equal. And so you may have your child in a classroom in a school where they're not thriving at the moment and you want to support them. It's possible. You can do it. You can help them um, reach new heights in their reading journey.
That's why I love this. Putting the tools into parents' hands has become such a mantra for me because I want to give parents this empowerment that
Mhm.
they get to have the confidence. They're going to help their child to build confidence, but they're also going to build confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for a tutor. You don't have to figure out the tutor's schedule. Um, and you get to have the bonding. I mean, when I'm working with kids, we're bonding. We're having so much fun. Kids like don't want to not come to time with
Hmm.
me
Hmm.
because they love our connection and the joy that we have together. But I want to give that into parents' hands and enrich their relationship.
Yes.
One of the things I saw on one of your posts was there's no judgment here, there's no judgment here, there's no judgment here. I was like, I love that, right? Like sometimes we feel bad, we feel judged, we feel like, oh, I haven't done enough, or I don't have enough time, or I don't, and it just like it just heaps up on our psyche. Just like blast that away. There's no
Hmm.
time like the present time,
Exactly.
and you've got this, right? And you have Claire and you have me and you have all kinds of people who are in your corner telling you, A, you can do this. B, you don't have to break the bank. C, it is simple. D, you can do it on the go, so you don't have to add extra time in right away. And E, there's so many fun things to do, and we want to put it in your hands.
Yes.
So I'm excited to empower parents in this new year, help them help their kids to just launch into the joy of reading through the power of play.
You're doing amazing
Yeah.
work.
Oh, thank Thank you. Right back at you. I told everyone as I announced this that I'm so excited to have you on because I so admire all that you're doing. And as I look through all your resources, they are phenomenal. So I want everybody to go find Claire Thomas at Early Intellect on Instagram. Where else can they find you and maybe sign up for things? What do you
You
think?
can, in my bio, you can click on the link in my bio and check out the different resources that I have on my website, or you can visit www.earlyintellect.com. I'm also on YouTube if you're looking for longer videos where I'm sharing different tools and different resources to help support you in your child on their literacy journey.
So fantastic. I really appreciate all the effort that you put because this is such a crucial thing and it's so just central to your heart and your mission of what you want to do in the world. And I appreciate that more than I can
Thank
say.
you so much, Amy.
Before you go, I have a little game that I play with everyone at the
Okay.
end. It is my little permission to play. And we're going to, I always forget to say first that index cards are always allowed. And then we're going to try to make up a game using some random household items. So let's see, I'm
Okay.
going to spin it. I'm going to spin my high tech paper clip. Okay, you and I got a deck of playing cards, a plastic cup, and rubber bands, and we can use index cards. What are we playing?
I don't know if this is too simple, but I'm
No,
thinking
nothing's
with
too
the
simple is good, right? Simple, that's our whole
and
message. Keep it simple.
we're playing with a child,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So on the deck of cards, I think I would have the child or the student draw different pictures, and we would just pull from the cards, and using the cup we would go around the house and find different items that rhyme with whatever picture we pull. And they would have to put it in the cup.
Ooh.
And we would each take turns and we would see who could fit the most items in the cup.
Okay, I love it. And you get a rubber band for every item.
Oh, we can rubber band the items together so they're not spilling
Okay.
out. So that way you could fit more into the cup.
All right. Now, my idea was a little different. I had a deck of playing cards, so I'm thinking numbers. And I was thinking of putting the writing words on the plastic cup. You would have to like already do lots of rounds, but and shooting rubber shooting rubber bands at the cup to knock it over. And then
Oh,
however many points are on the card, once you did it, you read the word on the cup, then you got that many number of points from the deck of cards,
oh, I
like
like
a 2
that.
or a 10 or I don't know. I just got the most amazing thing gifted to me. It was so random, but someone made a box with this like you throw balls at a can, and they made this box so that when you knock over the cans, they go into this chute, and and it comes back down into this little tray. And I was like, I want it, and so that's on my mind is like knocking over cups with the ping pong balls. I'm like, well, we'll just do it
Oh,
with rubber
that's
bands instead.
fun.
The kids are so excited. They see a game like this. They're like, "What's this?
Yeah.
Can I play?" And I'm like, "Yes, you can
I
play.
just know the rubber bands will
We'll
be a
do it next
hit.
time." Oh, right. They're just, I know, just don't have it backfire on you. You have to
Yeah.
teach how to use rubber bands, by the way. Don't do this at home without explaining. Well, Claire, you've been such a good sport, and I thank you so much for coming and sharing your valuable insights with us today, your resources that are available on the internet and on Instagram, and just your heart to bring the movement of play to the foreground so that kids get to learn with joy and nurture a love of learning for life. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy. It was a pleasure.
And everyone else, you have our permission to play. This is your invitation. Have a great holiday. I do have resources for you to play over the holidays, so check in with me for that. All right. Bye,
Bye.
y'all. Bye, Claire. Thank
No
you.
problem.